assignment from Norman to write a theme for Pokemon. We didn't have a clue what it was about. Mysteries does, but it didn't matter. And I remember very specifically, because I remember thinking about this when I knew I was going to. I think I've told this story before in other interviews, but I remember going into John's office, and he says, "All right, we got to write this thing. We had done, or we're going to be doing the sales film for this that would eventually that Norman was making." But and I remember John sitting behind his desk, and me sitting in the chair in front of him. And he's going, well, it should be something like this. I want to be, and that's all he ever did.
Okay.
But that was all I needed.
That was your launch pad. Yeah.
That was my launch pad. So he's going, and I'm doing exactly what he was doing. He was doing it with his hand, just like this. And then he said, I want to be, or something, whatever he said, whatever he sang. And I went, okay. And I went back to my studio, and I wrote, and then we got back together and we finished the melodies and stuff and wrote the lyric together.
When Norman presents this to you, what does he say? Does he show you the first episode? Does he show you what are you seeing so that you can make this make sense with the show?
I think at that point, I don't think we had seen much, because I don't think they had created the American version of episode 1 yet.
Okay.
I think that there was a lot, if I remember right, there was a lot of like promotional reading material, like a lot of stuff, like Pokemon, some sheet that came out, Pokemon, the biggest thing in Japan since sliced bread or whatever, and there was that kind of stuff. John, and we probably asked Norman, well, what's it about? He said, well, first of all, he said it's about selling toys, but then he said, well, it's about friendship, and it's about a group of kids that travel around the world that do things together, and blah, 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 blah. And so we wrote that lyric. I want to be the very best. No one ever was. That's them is my real test. All that we just wrote. We had a basic idea of what it was about, and we just went for it. I travel around the world. All of that was just stuff we picked up from the promotional material that Norman had given us. I don't think we were looking at the show at that point.
Did it change at all from that original pitch song to what we heard on the TV show? Or is that the finished version for the pitch?
That song is the finished version.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. That song, I think, is pretty much, oh no, things did change. Some lyric things changed. Gotta catch them all. That we had to add in. We had to add.
Because Norman probably hadn't written leave that tagline. Yeah.
Gotta catch them all didn't exist yet. But the basic song and in the Sizzle reel that he made, in the sales film that he made, another song that's on the To Be a Master CD called Pokemon Dance that Vicky Sue Robinson sang, that I wrote. That in some other form was in that sales film also.
Okay.
And so I had that basic musical idea. It changed a lot, that one. But I think we did that song and it was done, I think.
It was perfect.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know, I'm remembering now. Something existed, but then at a certain point, we had to run auditions for the lead singer. And we ran auditions. And Jason Page ended up getting the gig, but we had probably 4 or 5 other guys came in and sang. And then